Now we will go with this thing. We will go to the next sloka, 41. Vyavasatmika buddhir ekehe kurunandana bahushakayanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam. He says, Krishna says, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched. So he's using one more word here, Sanskrit word. Vyavasatmika buddhi. 41, shlok number 41. Vyavasatmika buddhi. What is Vyavasatmika buddhi means? It means intelligence with a strong determination to find God. Vyavasatmika buddhi. That intelligence which is determined, which is strong in its willpower, or you can also say that willpower which is being applied to find God. That is called as Vyavasatmika buddhi. One of the most important terms here. Vocabulary. I always say build your vocabulary. So build your vocabulary. Vyavasatmika buddhi. Buddhi means intelligence. Vyavasatmika means resolute, determined, strong-willed. Now the mind will not go here and there. Just like everything else can wait. But my search for God cannot wait. Just like that. This is an example of Vyavasatmika buddhi. I will find God in this body, in this lifetime itself. I will not get swayed. I will not get lost. I will not take my mind here and there, no matter what. This is Vyavasatmika buddhi. Strong willpower is Vyavasatmika buddhi. Got it? All right. Now we go to the next sloka, 42, 43. He says, Krishna is warning us, giving us one warning. He says, so we make our determination. Oh, I'm not going to take my mind to the world. Now my mind will be in God. Now when you get into the path of spirituality, oh my God, this is another world here. So many philosophies, so many scriptures, so many paths, so many teachers. Now you are confused. This can also confuse you. Spiritual world also confuses. From childhood, I was always interested in sadhus. That whole world, it's very interesting. So we went to Kumbh Mela. So this Kumbh Mela happens in January in India. There is one Kumbh Mela which happens after every 12 years, which is a very big Kumbh Mela. And there are small Kumbh Melas which happen every 3 years in particular places on close to January 14th, 15th. So this is a place where you can see all sadhus. And sadhus not only, in physical form, but this is such a strong time. The constellation is such arranged that even those sadhus who are hidden in the Himalayan caves, who will never come in public, and they also appear. You will not know who this sadhu is, but they will also come to get that dip in the Ganges, in that particular constellation. It's very, there's a lot of importance given to that in our scriptures. So I was very interested in seeing the sadhus. But when I went to Kumbh, oh my God, I'll tell you, it is a supermarket. It is a supermarket of sadhus. It's like getting into some big market. Everybody is with their own akhadas and their camps, and they're talking about that. It's like a big market. Some of the sadhus are like, they're just sitting there in the dhunas. They're just sitting with like 11 or 5 fire sacrifices, and they're sitting in between them. Some of them are lying on the bed of nails. If you want to see sadhus, this is the best time to go, I tell you. You'll see everything what India has to offer, the spiritual world has to offer. And 1 month will be less for you. You'll meet so many. So you have heard about them, right? Sleeping on nails. You will actually see them. There is a whole sect of people, who are like this. Then there are Babas who from childhood they have become Babas, and they have their hands up. Khada Baba. So there are Babas who have who have made this determination to stand on one leg. So they become sadhus at a very young age. So these sadhus, I met one sadhu, he was very young age. So this whole there's a group of sadhus which keep moving from village to village, village to village. Okay. So in those times, even today it happens in rural villages, rural part of India. So this group of sadhus, they'll go from one village to another village. And then some of the families, they want to give their children to the sadhus. So they happily give their children to the sadhus. They take my son and teach him and make him a sadhu. This tradition is there even till date, okay? So I met this sadhu. So he was a kid when he was adopted by these sadhus, the Naga sadhus. And from then he was being trained in the purpose of yoga, their sect, whatever. And then the training was he has to be very determined, and the determination training was happening by he has to stand on one leg and do the tapasya. So since that age, he was standing. So I was so curious to see whether he sleeps or not. So this kid is, when I met, probably he had become, he must be 18 or something. But he was adopted when he was 12 by the sadhus. And from then he's being trained. So he will have only one leg up and one hand up. That was his position. And they were given one swing kind of thing where he would take a support. That's all. He would not sleep. He was like that only. For sleeping also, he's like that. That was his determination. He trained his body like that. Determination. Sometimes, I used to get confused, like this is like a circus. I'm like, what? Why is it so necessary to torture your body so much to find God? And I spoke to them and they were like, no. To you, it seems like torture. To me, it doesn't seem like torture. To us, when people of the world, when they come and meet and they talk about their mental state, we feel, what kind of torture are they in? We don't feel our body is getting tortured. He said that. When people meet us and they talk about their family life, their problem, their job, their bosses, same old, we feel what kind of mind they have, how much torture they are suffering. And this what he was saying very nicely, this is what my guru taught. Okay, some problems from my past life I may have had, all that is being washed away and it doesn't feel like problem. It is my life. And I will be like this for 12 years. After that, we have techniques how to become normal. I'll become normal. But in the process, the determination that I had to develop, the mind I had to develop to be always constantly remembering God, I have developed. So I was hearing, it was so many stories, when you hear and you come, and I came in my own camp and I lost my sleep. Contemplating all these things, seeing all these things. What all I have seen. So many Aghoris doing miracles. So supermarket, sleeping on a bed of nails or doing all these things, determination. So you will find yogis like this also who are determined and they are training their bodies for that determination that this body is not everything. It is beyond pain. You are not the body. You are the soul. So people different, So the reason I'm citing all this thing is, as he says, do not take your mind here and there, because when you enter the spiritual world, yes, there is always a chance of getting lost. Always a chance of getting lost. Because of so many gurus. First of all, for us, we live in the modern world. So the chance of getting lost starts from YouTube. We first start searching videos. I have met people who have not met any saint or things. They just saw some YouTube videos, they learned some techniques, and then they messed up badly. It's getting lost in spirituality. Then meeting gurus who are greedy, messed up. Then even when you go to, like when I went to Kumbh, seeing all these stalwarts doing all this, you feel like you're insignificant. What now? Do we even have a chance? We can't be living that life. We're not prepared for it. We're not cut for it. Everybody's life is different. We can't live that life. We are different. So whatever situations we are in, we have to find a way there. And wherever I am, can't I find God? So sometimes those feeling of, like whether can we experience or not, do we have to go through all these tortures? We are not cut for it at all. But then you meet saints, loving saints, and you put forward these questions to them, and they guide you. And then you come home, and then you get into the pages of Gita. And then Bhagwan starts talking. And when he talks, you feel so nice. Thank you, Bhagwan. Now I feel good. I saw the circus. I saw the supermarket. I saw so many people. And I learned so much. But now when you talk God, you make sense. You give that knowledge which I wanted to hear. And you make me feel so comfortable, Bhagwan. When in Gita, Bhagwan makes each and every soul comfortable. When he says, I reside in everybody's heart, he means it. He means it. So here when he's saying, that, my dear ones, my dear friends, my dear devotees, be resolute on this path. Do not take your mind here and there. Do not get lost. And then the next sloka he says is 42-43. Yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadanti avapaschitaha vedavada ratha partha nanyadasti tivadinaha kamatmana swargapara janma karma phalapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishvarya gatim prati. He says, men of small knowledge are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. Being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than nothing more than this. In those, then 44 slok, Bhogaishwar prasaktanam taya aparita chetasam vyavasatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So here in this sloka number 44, there is one word. He says, samadho na vidhiyate. Samadho. Samadho means samadhi. Final goal if you hear about yoga, they'll say, oh, you have to get into samadhi, you have to get into samadhi. What is samadhi? You read the purport of Shloka 44. Very beautifully it has been explained. Samadhi means fixed mind. Those who want to know what samadhi is fixed mind, because people many times mistake it as, oh, samadhi means you are getting some light and sound show inside, or you are floating up in the air. A lot of other, are you getting siddhis, ashtasiddhis? Those things happen. It's not like they don't happen. But the first thing has to happen for the other things to happen. And what is the first thing? The first thing is fixed mind. So Bhagavan says, keep your mind resolute. Do not get carried away, even by the Vedas. He has further said, I am the Veda. I have written the Veda. I know what is there to be known from the Vedas. But I am warning you, don't get carried away by the Vedas. Because whatever the Vedas are supposed to give you, that is me. I am standing in front of you. I am talking to you. I am giving you the Gita. Forget about all that. Don't get confused. Listen to me. I am giving you the right path and the easiest path to come to me. Don't get lost by all the things that is written in the Veda. I am giving you the essence of Veda, which is Bhagavad Gita. And I'm going to give you the easiest path by which you can achieve me. Just listen to me. And then he goes on saying, this warning I'm giving you, because the Vedas will give you all these spiritual things. It will appear as spiritual, but they are only going to bind you. I don't want you to be getting bound in anything. I'm giving you the easiest path. He says, Vedas, he says 45 shloka. Traiguna Vishaya Veda, Nistre Guno Bhavarjuna, Nirdvando Nityasattvasto, Niryoga Kshema Atmavan. He says, oh Arjun, free your mind of all dualities and free it from all anxieties. What are the anxieties you have? Mostly people have anxieties of, oh, if I do this, what will I gain? Will I be protected? People are always in fear. They need some insurance. They need some security. And they always want to gain something. He says, free yourself. Free yourself from all these anxieties. What will happen to me tomorrow? Free yourself from that. Trust me, Bhagwan. Trust in Bhagwan. If you trust in Bhagwan, the biggest sign will be this. The biggest change in your mind has to be this. You don't become God-fearing, nor do you fear your life, nor do you fear situations, nor do you fear about what is going to happen in the future. Trust in God means that this moment I am living, this moment God has given me everything. Let me live it fully. Let me live it completely. Let me live it with joy. Let me live freely. What is going to happen tomorrow? I'll see tomorrow. If I have lived the moment now rightly, then tomorrow is going to be right. But if I live in anxiety, what am I going to gain by anxiety? And by being anxious, by taking stress, by taking tension, are you going to create anything new? Are you going to find solution? No. So leave the stress, the tension, the anxiety aside. Just do your work. Trust in God. He says, leave it. Become free from all anxieties and safety and be established in self. Self means be in your soul. Know who you are. You are the soul. You're not this body. Vedas will deal with these three subject matters, which are the three material modes of nature. The sattva guna, mode of goodness. The rajoguna, mode of passion. The tamoguna, mode of ignorance. O Arjun, rise above all these three gunas, all these three modes. What are these three modes? I will cover it tomorrow. We'll cover it in detail so that it becomes very clear. Once it is clear here, then in chapter 16, it will be very easy for you. Okay. So then he says in 46th shloka, Yavanartha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. He says all purposes served by a small well can at once be served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all purposes of Vedas can be served to the person who knows the purpose behind them. The rituals and I'm reading the purport of this. It's a good purport. You must also read, those who are teaching. The rituals and sacrifices mentioned in the Karma Kanda section of Vedic literature are meant for the gradual development of self-realization. Purpose of self-realization. And what is the purpose of self-realization? The purpose of self-realization is given in 15:15. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to know Lord Krishna, who is the cause of everything. So, self-realization means, you can by heart this definition for your understanding. Self-realization means understanding Krishna and your eternal relationship with him. What is the relationship of Krishna and the living entities? That is also mentioned in chapter 15. All living entities are part and parcels of Krishna. When I say this is a statement, it should not be a statement. You have to feel it. You are Krishna's. You're not an ordinary being. You're not an ordinary being. You are Krishna's. Got it? It's a big statement. Meditate on this. Contemplate. You are a part and parcel of God. Contemplate. You carry the DNA of Krishna. Contemplate. This is confirmed. The living entities are parts and parcels of Krishna. Therefore, revival of this consciousness by the individual entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Aho batosva pachoto gariyan yajivagre vartate nama tubhyam te pustapaste juhunu shashnurarya brahmanu churnam grinanti hete. Oh my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, though born of a low family like that of a Chandala, is situated, Chandala means a dog eater, is situated on the highest platform of self-realization. So such a person must have performed all kinds of penances and sacrifices according to the Vedic rituals and studied the Vedic literatures many, many times. After taking bath in all the holy places of pilgrimage, such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas without being attached to the rituals only, and must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdom for a better quality of sense gratification. It is not possible for the common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulation of the Vedic rituals, nor is it possible to study all the Vedanta and the Upanishads thoroughly. This is the practical problem of today's life, to study everything, and you cannot. And I'm telling you, if you understand Gita, this is Gita Upanishad, one Upanishad. If you understand perfectly, you open any other Upanishad, Chandogya, Shvetashvatara, anything, Kathopanishad, they will all become easy because they are carrying the same message. But understanding this is very important. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purpose of the Vedas. This is hardly possible in this age. The best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya, the deliverer of all fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya was asked by a great Vedic scholar, Prakashanand Saraswati, why he was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist. People think bhaktas means sentimentalist. Instead of studying the Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master had found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. He did so and became ecstatic like a madman. In this age of Kali, most of the population is foolish and not adequately educated to understand the Vedanta philosophy. The best purpose of Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last name, last word in Vedic wisdom. Vedanta means end of Vedas. Anta means last. The final conclusion of all Vedas. Vedas are so big. The final conclusion is Vedanta. And what is the conclusion of Vedanta? Lord Krishna. This is what he has claimed. Bhagavan who is speaking. He says, and the highest Vedantist, who is the highest Vedantist, is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. This is the ultimate purpose of all Vedic mysticism. So Vedanta, we have learned Vedanta, studied Vedanta, and yet if after learning the Vedanta, after understanding the Vedanta, if the heart is still not satisfied, that means the heart hasn't gotten that food, that right food. It hasn't gotten the Krishna's name. Vedanta you studied from wherever, but this Vedanta, conclusion of all Vedanta, is coming from the one who wrote the Vedas, who is the compiler of Vedas, Vedavyas, and Vedavyas is Lord Shri Krishna. So here, after understanding the real Vedanta, this is real Vedanta. What Bhagavan Shri Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita. Got it? And 47th slok he says, Kanmandeva madhikaraste ma phaleshu gadachana ma karma phala hetur bhuma te sango astu akarmani. You have right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities and never be attached to not doing your duty. We will understand.